Good afternoon. I will be delivering the joint statement of Security Council members Estonia, France, Ireland, Norway, the United Kingdom, the United States of America, and incoming Security Council member Albania after the AOB on Georgia today. This week marks 13 years since the beginning of the conflict between Russia and Georgia on 7th August 2008. We reaffirm our unwavering support for Georgia's independence, sovereignty, and territorial integrity within its internationally recognized borders. We regret that the territorial integrity of Georgia continues to be violated by the Russian Federation. We condemn Russia's illegal military presence and exercising of control over Abkhazia and Tskhinvali region, South Ossetia, integral parts of Georgia, and its steps toward annexation of these Georgian regions. Russia's actions are in clear violation of international law. We condemn Russia's continuous provocations, which have continued despite the ongoing pandemic. Reinforced military presence and military exercises on Georgia's territory, intensified borderization process, arbitrary detentions, kidnappings of members of the local population, restriction of freedom of movement, and lengthy closures of the administrative boundary lines, discrimination against ethnic Georgians in Gali and Akhalgori districts, and prohibition on education in residents' native language. We call for the immediate release of Irakli Babua and other citizens of Georgia still unjustly held in detention. We recall the judgment of the Grand Chamber of the European Court of Human Rights on January 21st, 2021. That has stated that as ineffective control of the Georgian regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia, Russia has been responsible for grave human rights violations, including the killing of civilians, torture of prisoners of war, inhuman and degrading treatment, preventing Georgians from returning to their homes, and failure to conduct investigations into human rights violations. We remain deeply worried that in the past several years, no international human rights monitoring mechanism has been granted unrestricted access to the regions of Abkhazia and South Ossetia. We therefore call for immediate unhindered access to be granted to the Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights and other international and regional human rights mechanisms. We recall the urgent need for unimpeded humanitarian access to all civilians in need. The conditions for a safe, voluntary, dignified, and unhindered return of internally displaced people and refugees must be created. We express support for the Geneva International discussions and the incident prevention and response mechanisms as important formats to address the security, humanitarian, and human rights challenges stemming from the unresolved Russia-Georgia conflict. We stress the necessity of resuming meetings in Gali without further delay or preconditions. We stress the necessity of a peaceful resolution of the Russia-Georgia conflict based on international law, including the United Nations Charter and the Helsinki Final Act. Today, we call once again on the Russian Federation to fully implement its obligation and commitments under the agreements of 12th August and its subsequent implementing measures of 8th September 2008, and withdraw its military and security forces without delay and reverse its recognition of the so-called independence of Georgia's territories Abkhazia and the Tskhinvali region, South Ossetia, and to not impede the creation of an international security mechanism. Thank you.
Mr. Ambassador, there has been no movement on the part of Russia to return Abkhazia. Aside from issuing statements, is there anything else that all of you believe could or should be done to try and get some movement on this issue?
We will continue to focus on this issue in the Council, and we will not let it go without recourse. Thank you very much.